Welcome to episode 2 of my Let's Play series of Manor Lords, in which I am playing as Ditz, the Mountain Lord, on the new Mountain Pass map that was added by the 0.8.029 alpha patch. This episode was originally released as a timed Patreon exclusive, and I decided on making this a timed exclusive as opposed to a permanent Patreon exclusive due to the popularity of Manor Lords as compared to Star Trek Infinite, my other Let's Play series that I've done so far. And follow-up episodes in the Star Trek Infinite campaigns were permanent Patreon exclusives. I still don't know if every episode of this Manor Lords series will be timed exclusives or if they will be permanent Patreon exclusives. I'm going to see how these first two perform, and then I'll decide on how I'm going to do the future ones. I'm also going to be trying something a little bit different this time around, which is that I'm going to actually be recording the commentary and narration as I am playing. In my previous Let's Play attempts, both for Manor Lords and Star Trek Infinite, I had always been recording the gameplay first while taking notes of things I wanted to say, and then I would record the narration later while re-watching the gameplay footage and reviewing my notes. That worked okay, but it had some downsides. It required a lot more time and a lot of editing and post-production work, and that ended up being more work and time than I would have liked. The whole point of these Let's Plays was to have an opportunity to make content relatively quickly in between my larger scripted video essays, but recording the narration after the fact just proved too time-consuming. I would record 3 or 4 hours of gameplay, and then I would have to skim through those 3 or 4 hours of gameplay to, write down the things I wanted to say, and then would actually have to record an hour or two of narration. And it would end up taking weeks for me to get a single video completed. And the idea for this was to be able to get something out in 1 week, maybe even a couple days. So this time I'm going to try doing the commentary at the same time that I'm playing, so I don't have to do as much post-production work. We'll see how this goes. Maybe this is how I will end up doing things in the future, or maybe I will decide that I don't like this and I'll go back to doing what I was doing previously, which was to pre-record the gameplay. If you do like this better, let me know in the comments. If not, if you preferred the way I had done things previously, then let me know that too, and I will take that under consideration. So, in the previous episode, I had started a little fishing village up here in the top left corner of your screen. Fishing ponds, of course, being one of the new features that was added recently to Manor Lords. And then I started spreading the settlement out. As it got bigger. The plan is to have a large urban town center at the top of this hill, which will be easily defensible, and then to have some, farming and stuff going on at the base of the hill. Also, by the end of the first episode, I had wiped out the immediate bandit and raider threat, so you can see there are no bandit camps on the map, and I was immensely successful with my military actions, almost laughably so. And I had started upgrading my Burgage plots to level 2. So I want to continue doing that now by actually taking a look at my Burgage plots, and whichever ones I can level up to level 2, I want to level up to level 2. In order to get to the next development point, I need 5 Burgage plots that are level 2 or higher. I currently have 2, and if I upgrade these 2 more, that'll get me up to 4, and then eventually I should be able to upgrade this one, which will get me up to 5, and then I'll get a new development point. Also, if you watched the first episode, you may notice that it had ended in February or March of the 3rd year of the game. Yet here at the bottom right corner of the screen, it says it is December of year 2. The reason for that is that after I finished the previous episode, I actually reloaded an older save in order to try to fix a couple of superficial mistakes that I had made and make a few minor adjustments to the size and layout of some Burgage plots and roads and things like that. But then luck had it that the oxen decided to just be way more efficient about moving lumber and stuff around the settlement, so they got all of the work of building those Burgage plots and upgrading them done 3 months earlier than they had in the original gameplay footage. So I get to go back in time 3 months. Hooray for me. Anyway, the plan for this episode is going to be to continue developing and growing my little settlement and to get Burgage plots up to level 3. I'm also going to start building some agriculture, and I will try to start specializing my economy and industry, and maybe also engage in some trade to acquire resources that I cannot currently produce locally. So what do I actually have to do to get Burgage plots up to level 3? So let's take a look at one of our level 2 plots. And basically it requires water access, which I already have. It requires a tavern, which requires ale, which requires barley, which requires farming. It also requires a level 2 church, which requires roof tiles, which means I have to start collecting clay from my clay deposit over here. It will also need a wider variety of food and clothing. The food, I might have to build trade infrastructure to import, or I might be able to get enough food from bread to make this work. I also need clothing. I need either shoes, clothes, or cloaks. And those require a tailor or a cobbler. But the tailors and cobblers require iron tools, which requires that I either create a blacksmith, or I have to go into the industry tab here and create a smithy, which requires that I process raw iron. And I do not have access to any iron in this particular region, but there is iron over here in Linek. In fact, it is a rich deposit, which is incredibly valuable because you can build a deep mine here that will provide unlimited iron. So I'm actually going to start claiming this now because I have enough influence to do so, and I don't want Hildebolt to claim this and get that iron first. I don't want to have to fight him for that iron. He can go ahead and claim this territory over here. I mean, I would rather that he not. I'd like to be able to claim all 3 without having to fight him, but I don't think that's going to happen. This does have a rich wild animal deposit, which is great for keeping food supplies high, but there's nothing in here that's like critically important to have. I need iron, so this is important, so I want to make sure that this gets claimed before Hildebolt claims it. So while we're waiting for that to happen, and we're waiting for our Burgage plots to level up, we can go ahead and start laying out our farms. So how is the farm going to look? Well, first let's take a look at our fertility. Emmer is basically wheat. That's your primary food resource, and I can produce emmer pretty much anywhere. So I don't have to worry too much about that. The more limited stuff is going to be the barley, which can only go in this area over here. I can also put it up here, but that would require cutting down these trees, and I don't want to do that because that, I think, will force the wild animals to migrate away, and then I wouldn't have access to that food resource. So I can maybe do that later when I'm getting crap tons of food from agriculture. Then I don't need these wild animals. Then maybe I can chop down this forest and, you know, build more barley farms over here, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. And while I'm over here, I'm also going to check to make sure that this stuff is getting worked. And soon it will be March, so I'll need to make sure that I start working this frozen pond. And then the other thing that I'm going to be planting is flax, and flax can either go up here or it can go here. And I think I'm going to put it over here where all these trees are, and that's going to happen after my logging industry has chopped down all these trees and I get the lumber and resources for it. Something else that I want to make sure that I'm doing is I have a bunch of planks. I'm going to pause my saw pit, and I'm going to have some extra people work the logging camp in order to create a larger surplus of logs, because I'm going to need those for creating Burgage plots and the farm. So it's January of year 3 now, so let's go ahead and start laying out my farms. So I'm going to click the barley, and I'm going to put my farmhouse. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a road. And the reason for that is I want to make sure that I can get fields that are the right size. So I'm going to put down my fields first. And the game recommends that you build fields in units of 1 Morgan. I don't like to do that. I like to make them like half a Morgan or 0.6 Morgans. especially for my like first farms, because I found that it's very difficult to get a full Morgan field worked early in the game, and I'll explain a little bit more about how that works once I've placed these first 3. So, what is a Morgan? Well, a Morgan is basically the German word for morning, and I looked this up because I was curious what this meant. And basically, a Morgan is a real unit that was used in medieval times, and what it represented was the amount of time that it would take a family to... it was the size of a field that can be worked by one family in one morning of labor. But I found that without access to a heavy plow and ox to pull the plow, even having multiple families in the farmhouse trying to plant in fields that are a whole Morgan, they weren't getting it done in time, and I was getting much reduced crop yields. So now what I'll do is I'll just plant multiple fields that are half a Morgan to make sure that they do get worked. And we've got our region claimed, but we're not going to actually start building anything there, because creating a new settlement requires money from the Lord's treasury, and I want to hold on to that for now in case I need it for levying mercenaries, and also because I think at the end of this year or the start of next year, the king is going to start levying a royal tax, and I want to make sure that I have a sizable buffer of money in my treasury to pay that tax. So I will only actually be settling in Linecht once I feel more comfortable about my bank account. And all right, so we have our farmhouse. There's no point in working it quite yet because it is still February and we can't actually plant anything until March. But what we can do is we can start assigning what we want our fields to be. So all of these fields are going to be wheat fields. And I'm going to create a couple more fields for barley and rye. Okay, so flax fertility, so we'll do flax here. And I guess we can go ahead and also do flax here, and we'll do barley here and barley here, because that should be good barley fertility. No, this one's not great. This one's better. What does flax look like? You know what? Maybe I'm going to do this. This one will be barley. This one will be flax. And another thing that you have to consider with farming fields is the fertility level will change. So if you continuously work the field growing the same crop, eventually it will lose fertility for that particular type of crop. The way to deal with that is to enable crop rotation and to leave the field fallow for certain periods of the year. So this field I'm actually going to leave fallow and do wheat in the second 2 years. And then for this one, I'm going to leave fallow in the second year and grow wheat in the third year. And over here, I'm going to grow wheat in the second year and leave it fallow in the third year. So this way, I always have 2 fields going and 1 field fallow in order to preserve its fertility. And then I'm going to do some similar stuff over here, where I'm going to grow flax for 2 years in a row. I'll grow the barley. And I'll go ahead and start putting families on the farm, but then I'm going to immediately pause it because I don't need them working quite yet. And instead, I'm going to go check on my Burgage plots up here. So, this one can now upgrade to level 2, so we'll go ahead and do that. And then we will watch these level up. Oh, while we were building our Burgage plots, it looks like a new bandit camp spawned. So let's see where that is. Okay, I think that is close enough that I can get my troops to it before Hildebolt gets his. So let's go ahead and rally my troops. And then I'm also, while I'm over here, going to make sure that I reactivate my fishermen. And let's also check on our wild animals. 10 out of 20. We need to let them grow a little bit more. So I will deactivate that. And as soon as March hits, we're going to activate our farmhouse. But before I do that, I also want to set priority. So the food is going to be the most important stuff. So I'm going to set the priority for all my wheat fields to very high. And then I'm going to leave the flax at low and the barley at medium for now. I'm going to set this one to very low because I want to make sure that I work one flax field. But if I can't get the second one, that's fine. That's not as big a deal. So that they will make sure that they will definitely get wheat and will almost certainly get barley, and then we should hopefully get at least one field of flax, maybe a second one. And then there's also, in here, is threshing priority, which is converting the raw wheat into grain. And for some reason, they don't let you set this to very low or high or highest, which means it can never be prioritized more than this like very high field. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to lower this to high so that hopefully the workers will split their time between working the wheat fields and doing the threshing when threshing is available, because you need to thresh the stuff in order to actually create the like flour for bread. All right, and Hildebolt is mobilizing his troops as well. So hopefully I can get here before he can. I think I should, because I basically have to walk across half a territory and he has to walk across like 1.5 territories. So hopefully I will get there first. I'm going to make sure that this guy isn't running, because I don't think he needs to run. But this one will run because they need to catch up and get to my other militia.
Yes, sire.
And as soon as I enter this territory, I expect these brigands to come chasing after me.
Run!
Okay, now they are moving to come after me. So I will definitely get to fight these guys. Hopefully Hildebolt doesn't come and steal the bandit camp. And oh. Ooh. Okay, that is a problem. What are we going to do about that? Looks like we're going to need to hire some mercenaries. So these guys say they will arrive in Linek. So that is who I will hire. Oh, and yeah, there they are. So I should be able to come over here.
My liege!
Let's see if I can run them out here. Alright, and then let's go over here and see how these guys are doing. So we're gonna put them, make them not have to run as far.
Move quickly! Your orders?
Alright, let's go check on the other side real quick.
My liege!
Yes, okay. Alright, so I'm gonna grab my melee troops. Get them into position. Alright, so that should be fine. I probably don't even need to check on them. Let's go take a look at what's going on over here. Alright, and they are engaging
Yes, sire.
my militia. So I'm going to get my retinue to come up behind them and flank them. And if you hold the tab button, you can see all the different modifiers that go into affecting their combat. So right now, my guys have a little bit of fatigue. They don't like the fact that there are a bunch of corpses. Their guys don't like that they've lost troops. Oh, and it looks like I lost one of my retinue. I think I had 8 at the start. Alright, so I'm gonna pause the game real quick. And then I'm gonna come over here and make sure I get these guys to run to that camp. Hopefully I get there before Hildebolt's troops do. And let's go over here and take a look at what is happening. And okay. Looks like all of our troops were successful. And I'm going to send this money to the town in order to make sure that I have a buffer for, you know, buying more like oxen and doing trades and stuff like that while still being able to gain wealth from taxing. Alright, so I'm going to send them back in order to disband them. And then I don't think there's any more bandits over here, so I don't think I need the mercenaries anymore. So I will go ahead and disband them as well, even though I could keep them for another 20-something days. Well, let's move them over here for right now on the off chance that Hildebolt decides to get frisky while his armies are here. Just in case. What is Hildebolt doing? Alright, I'm going to reposition them a little bit. This is a lot of old habits from playing lots and lots and lots of hours of Total War back in the day. Defend, defend, fire at will. Alright. So, is Hildebolt going to attack me? What is he doing? Oh, here's the issue. There's still more brigands on the map. Okay. That is a problem. We need to go take them out. They were like invisible. They must have been in the trees or something. So I'm assuming that once I clear out these brigands, Hildebolt's troops will return to his territory. I really don't think he's attacking me right now. This should not take long at all. And nope, it did not. Well, good thing I did not disband them. Alright, so now let's have them come over here. Oops. And protect the settlement on the off chance that Hildebolt does decide to attack. Ah, come on. Pick the right units. I will need to activate my corpse pit, because there was some fighting going on in this territory. It looks like they're gonna walk past. Are there other bandits somewhere else on the map that I don't know about and haven't seen yet? Hey Hey friends, how you doing? Glad we're all friends here. No villages to pillage or plunder. Nothing to see here, just an army moving through the town. Alright, well, let's reposition them over here in case more bandits do show up.
Yes, sire.
I only have them for 15 more days, though, so... Well, anyway, it is March, so let's get our farms up and running. I do need to keep one family for doing construction and other stuff. And we did level up, so now we have 5 level 2 Burgage plots. Something else that I want to do is I'm going to upgrade to a stable. Going to order another ox and then upgrade to a stable because I'm going to be doing a lot more construction and I'm going to need more ox power. Where did Hildebolt's army go? Maybe they're just walking off the map. Well, I think I'm clear. I'm going to go ahead and disband these troops before I have to pay for another month. And I do have my corpse. Yep, so there should be transporting corpses. And I'm also going to go into, before I forget, customize my retinue and recruit couple more troops. And then I definitely want to make sure that I keep some money left over. And I am taxing, right? 5%, okay. And I'm currently at 61% approval. So I think I can actually tax at a full 10%. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so anyway, now we can go ahead and take a look at how the farming works. So you can see these people are stuck plowing by hand, and it is going to be a very time-consuming process. Alright, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna go ahead and start working on some more Burgage plots. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to upgrade these Burgage plots with more living space. That way, I'll get families starting to move in while I'm still doing all my agriculture and stuff. It's already April. I think I need more families. Who can I'm going to shut down my logging camp for now, because I already have a surplus of logs. What else can I shut down? I still have bodies to bury, so I can't shut that down quite yet. All right, well, it is now well into the summer. The planting season is supposed to be spring, which is March through May. We're now into June. So we have some of our fields are fully plowed and sowed and growing. So that's our wheat fields. And like I said, this is very labor intensive, takes a very long time to do this without the heavy plow and the ox. We're still working on getting our flax field sown. So hopefully that happens soon and we will actually be able to grow some flax. It looks like they're in the process of planting right now. And I have a couple extra families, so we'll go ahead and go back to working the logging camp and adding more fishermen. And we have lots of wild animals, so we can reactivate our hunting camp. Alright, so we've got fields getting plowed. It is now middle of summer, so some of our fields are already plowed, and they already have crops growing, so that's good. So right now I only have one spare house, so I want some extra housing. But I also need to build some more agricultural infrastructure so that I have it ready to go in time for harvest season. So the next most important thing is to have a windmill. So I'm going to go ahead and plop down a windmill. I don't think wind direction is a thing in this game, unfortunately, so it doesn't really matter how your windmill is oriented. It's going to work no matter what you do. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and cram a Burgage plot in here too. We can probably have an extra vegetable garden. Next step in our agricultural pipeline is a communal oven to actually bake bread. And I want to put this over here so that it's still pretty close to the windmill in order to get the resources, but also close to the market where people are actually going to buy it. So this is high priority. This is the second thing that I want to get built. Okay, we got ourselves a nice fancy windmill. I'm going to assign a worker, but I'm going to immediately disable it because I don't actually have any resources for it to do anything. So, oh, we got a sick person. So it won't do anything even if we had people working it. So it doesn't matter. It looks like everybody is just waiting and praying. So I'm just going to disable the entire building. And this is planted and growing, and it is August, so we have 1 month. I don't know if I want to risk building this with only a month before harvest, so I'm going to hold off on that for now and work on just building the rest of my infrastructure. Okay, so we have no more housing availability, so I want to make sure that I have more laborers. So let's go and build some more Burgage plots. Oh, and another thing that I'm actually going to need down here, with this, now that I'm producing food goods, is I'm going to want a granary. So I'm going to go ahead and plop down a granary. That's high. We'll make this very high. I'll make the granary high. And hopefully we'll have that granary ready in time for harvest season. Whoops. Alright, we have bandits. Let's go find out where they are. Okay, guys, you gotta go faster. Come on. Alright, so I'm going to move them out here. And once they cross the threshold into the other territory, the bandits should come after them. Yep, and I got close enough that they triggered, coming after me. So now I just have to hope that I can get all my troops in position first. So there's those troops. And are they still too close to the trees? Yes, they are. So let's move forward into the clearing. Let's get these guys to stop running. Okay, and now they are not too close to the trees, so we can stop right there. And make sure they take up a defensive position. And then my retinue is going to do my typical flanking maneuver. Around behind. I have no idea if this actually, like, makes a difference, but, you know, again, all those years of playing Total War. Huzzah! We won and gained some more influence. So now, let's run over to the camp. And what are Hildebolt's troops doing? And they turned around and they're going back home, which means there aren't more bandits like hiding in the trees over here somewhere like there was last time. Otherwise, they would continue to march. I am going to take this to the nearest town so that I have money in order to build like backyards and do trade and stuff like that, and also have plenty of money to tax my citizens. What the heck is my tax rate right now? Okay, so while they come running back, let's see what's going on over here. My communal oven is still not built yet. Waiting for stone, it looks like. I do have stone, right? Yeah, plenty of stone. Oh, and it is now September, which means it is now harvest season. So... And now, in order to make sure that they thresh the way that they're supposed to, I'm actually going to go and disable the fields that aren't being worked, that have already been harvested. Because I've actually had to reload the game because they insisted on plowing and sowing the field for next season, and they weren't threshing, and I think it all spoiled, and I lost an entire year's harvest. Alright, so now I think I can take some workers away, and we're going to put them to work in the windmill, and my communal oven is now constructed, so I can also assign a family to work there, and still have one left over for construction. So... make sure that threshing is set to high priority. And once they're done harvesting, they should start threshing. Well, you know what? I guess I'll just disable these until they actually are done harvesting. And then I can have 4 families doing the harvesting. So what I'm looking for is for people to start crafting. Once they start crafting, then I can... this is all done, so let's disable that field. Make sure that's disabled. So once they start crafting, then I know that they're threshing, and then I can unassign people. I just want to make sure nobody starts plowing or sowing. Alright, so is all the wheat picked up off of these? Yes, it is. So I'm going to make sure these are all disabled so they don't start plowing them. Yep, see? That person started plowing. Don't plow. Alright, so I should have, yes, 35 wheat, 21 barley, 6 flax. Alright, so it looks like I have everything. This field was fallow, so nothing's happening there. Alright, so now I can unassign people from there. Now I can get my windmill and communal oven going, and I should see people should start, once they stop plowing, they should start crafting. There we go. Right there. Crafting. Yeah, now we're getting some grain. And there it is. There's grain. So now the grain will go to the windmill to make flour, and then the flour will go to the oven to make bread. That is annoying that you have to do so much micromanagement for the dang farms to get them to do, like, basic stuff. Like, really, you should be able to set threshing as highest priority, and then they should not work the farms if there's threshing that they can do and everything's harvested. Like, there should be priorities for plowing, sowing, harvesting, and threshing, like, individually. Alright, so now I've got some Burgage plots coming up for people to work on. I'm also going to put down a mining pit for my clay over here. And then I'm going to need a clay furnace as well. And what this is going to do is this is going to allow me to build my, upgrade my church. Come over here and build a salt pit, but I have some roads in the way, so I've got to clear those out. Let's go ahead and try to make my road network a little bit more efficient. And it looks like there's no more wheat to thresh, so I don't need any more of these workers, so I'm just going to disable the farm completely, and I can go ahead and re-enable all my fields so that they're ready to go when harvest, or when plowing season does come along. It would be nice if this would say what they're transporting, but it doesn't. So what is the deal? Why is nobody moving any of this grain around to where it's supposed to go? Like, do I have to have somebody working the stupid farm? What if I just leave one person working here so that they can move stuff? Okay, it says I'm connected to the road network. It says I'm connected to the road network. I don't know why nobody is moving grain into the windmill. There we go. Now they're picking up some grain and moving it to the windmill. Okay, well, stuff's working now, so we're good. Disable that, because they don't need to do anything right now. I want to make sure I have lots of workers so I can get all these construction projects finished. Okay, stuff's not quite finished yet, but now it's December and it's snowing, so we probably have a freezing lake. Yep. And how are our animals doing? So we can disable these buildings since they are not going to be producing anything. And what I will do in the meantime is I will go ahead and have people start working this granary and this storehouse. They're going to set up new market stalls and hopefully start moving stuff around. And I'm going to work on the backyards for these buildings. So we're going to go ahead and do a chicken coop so we can have more eggs. And we're going to do some animal pens in these because I want more pigs to provide more meat. So I'd have more of a surplus of meat. Oh, and I noticed our approval rating actually fell below 50%, which means we are not getting any population growth. So let's go and lower taxes. That's not going to be enough. We have to stop taxing altogether. Alright, well, that's a bummer. And we also finally got our clay pit done. So let's start working that. And our communal oven is pumping out bread. So this will help both with, obviously it's going to help with food security, but it's also going to provide additional variety in our food markets, which will improve approval. So I don't think I need more people working that anymore. So we'll go ahead and get more builders, and while it's still winter, we can start working on some additional projects. So other things we need to get to level 2 are the tavern and the church. So we're already working on getting the clay furnace going. So let's go ahead and start on the tavern as well. We have barley now, which means we can start producing ale. So I'm going to disable snap to road. Put it right there. And then we'll make the road a little wider, make it look more like it's a important thoroughfare, because it is. Set that to low because I also need a malt house. Oh, I was really hoping the malt house would fit right in here, and it doesn't. Well, shoot. Okay. And then I'm going to want a brewer. And we're going to put the brewer right here next to the tavern with a nice large backyard to create a brewery. So that's going to become high. He's going to be medium. This is still not quite done yet. Oh good, we're back up above 50%. And people are moving in. Alright, so now I have a mining pit for clay, and I have the clay oven, which will start producing tiles, roofing tiles. So yeah, we're starting to industrialize a little bit. Okay, and there is no more wheat to turn into grain. So I'm going to go ahead and disable the windmill. And have more people work at the communal oven, creating bread with what's left of the flour. And yeah, we got a nice little surplus of bread going. So I wonder if our markets have bread in them yet. So here is a food stall which has nothing, and a food stall that has nothing. That's not reassuring. Okay, well, just in time. It looks like we're going to have our tavern completed just in time for the spring thaw, but in the meantime, we've got another bandit camp, so I want to go deal with that. Alright, so let's see, where should I put this? I think I will add this to my treasury, because we weren't getting tax income for a while, and the village is actually pretty wealthy already. We've got 384 wealth. And how's my oven doing? Looks like I am out of raw materials. But I should probably leave these people here to transport stuff. Hopefully they'll get them in the, they'll take, well, man, I don't know, maybe they don't. I don't know, we'll see. Alright, so now people are gonna start coming over here and plowing. Oh, and, I need to resume working my food generators, so my people don't starve. We've got a bunch of bread, though. Wow, we actually are running low on fish. That's surprising. I'm gonna pull people away from here. How much clay do I have? I've got plenty of clay. How many roofing tiles do I have? I have 8. How many roofing tiles do I need to upgrade the church? 10. Alright, so I need 2 more. So I will go ahead and keep working that. And let's see, is there anywhere else that I can pull a worker from? Not really. Just the communal oven. Alright, well, I guess I will turn off the communal oven so that I have enough workers to work my farms and my food. I can also disable the tannery, I guess, because I've already got a bunch of leather. Where is leather? Yeah, I'll disable that for now. Alright, so we've got a bunch of plowing going on. Disable this for now until I actually have some ale. Right now it looks like they're still just collecting resources. Alright, now I have enough roof tiles to actually upgrade the church, so I'm going to go ahead and begin that project. I only have 1 laborer. I guess I can take the people off of here for now, since I don't need roof tiles imminently. Alright, for some reason it is taking forever to build this church, because for some reason nobody is bringing the resources that it needs. They're just not bringing the roof tiles, so I'm going to do the orchards first. because I can't really spare the manpower right now for the bakeries. So I'm going to come over here, and we're going to go ahead and build the plowing station, which means I'm also going to need to build a hitching post. That's under logistics. Now, something that I did kind of realize recently is that even if I'm going to be recording the commentary as I'm playing, it might still behoove me to play ahead a little bit first in order to plan out what I'm going to be doing. And the reason for that, one of the benefits of having recorded gameplay first and then recording commentary over it later was that I could do things like save scum in order to test things out or to fix mistakes or resolve glitches. I can then take the final footage and edit it all together and edit out, the save scumming and stuff like that, cutting out all the experimental stuff that then gets loaded over. And that's a bit harder to do if I am giving the commentary live as I'm playing it. But since I'm not streaming completely live, it's still possible to edit stuff. But case in point, I actually had to redo this entire episode. It was over 4 hours of gameplay and well over an hour's worth of commentary that I ended up throwing out. Part of that is because I wanted to do things with a little bit more structure, but it was also because there was a significant glitch in the original game that really screwed me over. The problem was that I had built a hitching post near my farmhouse for the purposes of keeping an ox for plowing the fields. However, there is a known glitch in the game in which oxen can become stuck trying to pathfind from just outside the edge of the map, so they never actually arrive at the hitching post. Well, that happened to me, and the ox was stuck out for like a year in-game before I finally looked up the problem online and found that the solution is to demolish the hitching post or stable and then rebuild it. Apparently simply upgrading the hitching post to a stable was not sufficient. Rebuilding the stable is necessary. So that's what I did, and it did in fact solve the problem, but that was after over an in-game year of lost productivity from the oxen. So if you ever notice that a newly purchased ox is taking forever to actually show up at a hitching post, like more than just 2 or 3 in-game months, then it's probably because it is stuck, and you need to demolish the hitching post or stable and rebuild it. In addition, there were a couple of other mistakes that I had made that I wanted to undo, one of which that I had spent a development point on unlocking the charcoal kiln when it wasn't really necessary. That development point would have been much better spent on either the trade discount or on unlocking apple orchards. I also had screwed up by leaving some building production paused, and so they weren't producing goods for a very long time. And I also kind of wanted to just rearrange how I had already laid out the farm fields. So I wanted to go back and change that. So I ended up restarting from the save at the end of episode 1. But I did decide to keep the original footage and commentary, and I'm planning on releasing that as a Patreon exclusive. I guess we could call it a blooper episode. I put in the time, might as well turn it into some kind of content, right? So if you're a patron, feel free to check that out, complete with all of my blunders and game glitches. Alright, so I'm still waiting for that stupid thing to get built here. Alright, I don't understand what's happening again. Like, it's September, it's harvest season. I need this building operational. Where the hell is an ox with 1 friggin' log? What are the oxes doing? They're just waiting. What is going on? Okay, so I figured out, I actually went back and I reloaded a save from an in-game year ago, redid all the stuff that I did. And I thought the problem was that I ordered a new ox that at the same time that I was trying to build the plowing station. And I thought that maybe that ox, the newly ordered ox, had been the one that was assigned to the farmhouse, to building the farmhouse, to moving the lumber there. And that because it was stuck, the farmhouse wasn't getting built, and the other oxen weren't moving the logs because there was already an ox assigned to do that. Turns out that wasn't the case. It turns out the problem was that before I did the upgrade, I had disabled the building. And so because the building was disabled in terms of not letting people work it, when I applied the upgrade and it went into construction mode, it stayed disabled so that no construction was happening. So all I have to do is unpause the building and check it out. Now my oxen is actually going to go get that log. I feel so stupid. I just wasted so much time. So much for, trying to record the narration commentary at the same time as playing the game, being more efficient, huh? So anyway, now that that's happening, I got that sorted out. I can go ahead and build this extra hitching post that I was going to build already. And now it's, so because I reloaded, it's a few months earlier, it's now back to being May instead of being August. I'm still working on building the... Nope, I've got plenty of roof tiles, so let's go ahead and start the church upgrade, which should happen in parallel with the farmhouse. Alright, and there we go. So now the farmhouse is upgraded with a heavy plow, which means that we can assign livestock to it, and I will do that later when it actually comes time to plow, because I'm going to have to do some more ox juggling in order to get that to work. This is still being constructed, and my church is still being constructed. So let's go take a look at the church. Hopefully, upgrading this church goes a little faster this time. We'll see. Huzzah! We have a new church. We'll go ahead and assign someone to work it. And there it is. Nice, pretty building with nice ceramic roof tiles and made out of stone. Nice and sturdy. Alright, I also finished my hitching post over here, so I can go ahead and order another ox, which should show up promptly this time. Or it won't. So let's go ahead and demolish this hitching post. It's so ridiculous how much of this stuff you have to babysit. I mean, it's a good game. I love the game, but oh my gosh, is it frustratingly buggy and broken sometimes.
Let's get to work.
Alright, come on, let's get this built quickly, people. There we go. Alright. The ox is unstuck. And now we're at the point where Build-A-Bolt is claiming that adjacent territory. Alright, I guess I can go ahead and work this. Go ahead and work this. I've already got the clay. Got fish. Animals. Go ahead and work that. We'll go ahead and work our tannery. Since we've got all our big construction projects done. I've got my animals and my chickens. Okay, so what I can do now is spend development points. Oh, also, I should have someone work the tavern. And I've got someone working the malt house. Cool. Is anyone living here yet? No one is living here yet, so I'm not going to bother trying to upgrade that. What I will do, these are all level 2. I will go ahead and expand the living space for these 2 houses. Alright, so now that that is constructed, something else that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at my development points. So since I reloaded, I don't have all my development points spent. So I did do the heavy plow, of course, and upgraded the farm. So now I'm also going to do a bakery, and this will give me more bread. Now that I have the enough labor to do it. So I will add a bakery extension. Which only needs planks and not logs, so... And I still have one more development point, and that I will use shortly to upgrade my trade prices. Now I have a baker in the middle of town. So this person is an artisan, so they actually take a family away from the workforce, and they are basically permanently assigned to this one building. Both families that would work here will be. And you can never reassign them. Right? So I can't... Right? This is their workplace. I can't have them work anywhere else. I'm going to be doing the same thing over here and turning this into a brewer once a family actually moves into that house. Alright, so I'm not going to assign my new ox, Earhart, to the farm quite yet. I'm going to hold off on doing that until it's time to start plowing. That way Earhart will be available for construction projects that I'm about to do. And what I'm about to do is try to get some houses upgraded to level 3. And getting up to level 3 is going to require that people start using the tavern, and that we get a supply of clothing. And clothing requires a tailor or a cobbler, both of which require iron tools. And I currently do not have any iron tools or iron with which to build tools. There is iron over here, but as I've said before, I'm not ready to expand into this territory quite yet. although I actually do have quite a bit of buffer money now, so I probably could afford to pretty easily. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade for it instead. I'm also going to upgrade this well, and I might need to build another well in order to make sure that all of these houses are getting water. Alright, so a trade post. So I can build a trade post right here along the King's Road, which should make it nice and convenient for people to get to. It can house horses for transporting goods, and I believe the horse requires a stable, so I'm going to make sure that I put in a hitching post. And then I'm also going to go ahead at this point and build a livestock trading post, which I'm not going to be using right away, but I'm just going to make sure that I get it built so that I have it. And does that count as connected to the road? It won't tell me until it's built. Well, I can remedy that by actually connecting it to the road. All right, so this is going to be highest priority. This will be, sure, medium priority. And this will be very low because I don't need it anytime soon. I also want to build an extra storehouse over here to store goods, which will be going into the trade, which will be going into trades. So, and that I can leave at medium because I won't need it right away. Huzzah! We have a trade post. Okay, so let's actually look at trade. So there are certain goods in the trade route which are considered major trades, and these require that you spend money to create a dedicated trade route. And unfortunately, tools are one of those, and it costs 60 regional wealth in order to create a tools trade route, unless you have a development point and you spend it on the trade logistics development policy, which halves the cost of establishing new trade routes. This is one of the best policies, one of the best developments in the game. Almost every village is going to benefit from it because no village is going to have access to all resources, and this allows you to make sure that you can readily import the things that you are missing so that you don't necessarily have to go out and build new settlements right away or fight the other player in order to, take regions from them. So I'm going to take that development point, and I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going now to spend 30 regional wealth to create a trade route for tools. And I'm going to import, I only need a few, we'll go ahead and just import 3 tools. And now I need to look for some things to export in order to offset the cost of those tools. And I think the most valuable thing that I'm producing right now is leather, which is also a major trade route. And another thing to keep in mind is that the cost to establish a new trade route increases each time you create one. So now it costs me 60 to make the leather trade route instead of 30. So I can export leather, and how much leather do I have right now? I have 56. So I'm going to keep 25 in reserve and go ahead and let my people export the rest. I can also export some basic goods. We can export some firewood. I'll make sure to keep, we'll say 90, which is more than my population. So that makes sure that everybody should have access to firewood. I don't think I have any commodities to trade. I could trade food. We generate plenty of fish. I'm going to keep enough fish to feed all of my population and export the rest. And then I'm also going to import just a handful of berries in order to improve my food variety. I can export some bread, but I'm going to make sure that I keep plenty in reserve. I can also export vegetables. Again, I'm going to keep like 25 in reserve. And eventually, once I start producing apples, I can start exporting those too, and I will also keep 25 in reserve. I don't have sausages. I'm not going to sell any of the raw materials yet. And one of the other really good things to sell is planks, because, you know, planks are a renewable resource, and, like, the sawmill generates lots of planks, and, you know, when the game first came out, the sawmill was very inefficient. There were a lot of people complaining about how long it took to get planks, so they patched the game in one of the previous updates that made sawmills way more efficient, and now I think they might be a little bit too efficient. They might have overcompensated in that regard. You know, you've noticed that there have been plenty of times where I'm creating a lot of planks and have, like, no timber. And I have to keep shutting down the sawmill. In fact, the sawmill is not operating right now, because if it were, I would be out of timber for construction. I'm also going to spend some money to order a horse, and the horse will basically speed up how much I can trade by allowing more stuff to be packed into a single trade. And that horse should live at this hitching post. And then the other thing that I'm going to need is more housing. Did my well ever upgrade? No, they are still taking their sweet time upgrading that well. So I'm going to build a few more houses over here, and I'm going to build a little shortcut path through these trees. And I'm going to make these plots nice and large because I'm going to want them to eventually have orchards in them. So I want nice big backyards for some apple orchards. And I'll leave a little space over there on the other side of it in case there's something else I want to build over there. Because I think having orchards here will look very nice right along the tree line. A nice line of apple trees next to these trees over here. It'll look nice. At least I think so. And then I also want some houses for my eventual artisans. So I'm going to go up here, and we'll build a little row of houses. Make sure they have enough room for extensions and backyards. Look at how fast this construction is going with 3 oxen all pulling lumber up to the work sites. So that's what, the trade post and 3 Burgage plots all getting built within an in-game month? Pretty sweet. I'm going to hold off on, you know, well, I actually can't even create their backyards yet because they need to be level 2 in order to do that. So I have to wait for someone to move in and for them to get happy, and then I can upgrade their properties. We also got our stone well, so this now can supply water to more houses. I think I'll probably build a well down here anyway, though, because it'll just be quicker for this population to access. In fact, that might be not a bad thing to put right over here. All right, and look, so we already imported some berries. Nice. We didn't get tools, did we? Oh, we did get our tools already. Sweet. cost us a lot of our money, though. Dang. Okay, so now I think it's about time to do some a little bit more ox juggling. So I want to assign Earhart here to work this farm, but you'll notice that if I assign oxen, it will get Albert and Veet, which are the two oxen that live up here. And I don't want them to have to be constantly walking all the way around down here or all the way over here in order to plow these fields. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unassign them from here. And I'm going to build just a temporary dummy farmhouse. Just wherever, doesn't really matter. And I can afford to do this right now because I have plenty of laborers and materials. Okay, so now, if I come over here... Oh, I also need to add the plowing station. Okay. Well, let's get that. Come on, hurry up. Oh, here it comes. And I can also come over here and upgrade this to a small stable so that I can assign a second ox to it as well. Finally! Go ahead and buy a second ox. Alright, so now what I can do is I come over here, go to my livestock. So now Albrecht and Viet are assigned to this house. And then I can come over here, and now Earhart should be assigned. And once... Oh, another ox named Albrecht? I don't like that. Let's name him... Gary. And once Gary arrives, he should be assigned to this as well. And now the house is on, so people should start using the ox to actually plow these fields and get them done super quick. Go ahead and re-enable all the fields, since I think they were all disabled from when I was trying to thresh. Oh god, please don't tell me Gary's stuck now and I have to rebuild the stable. Please tell me I don't have to rebuild the stable. Is this Gary? It is. Okay. He does not look like he's stuck. And he's on the map now. Yes. Okay. Huh. I wonder why he, doesn't... Okay. Now we've got Earhart and Gary assigned to this farmhouse over here, which means I no longer need Albrecht and Viet signed over here, and I can, in fact, demolish this house. And now these two are here, ready to plow, and then I've got... where's the other stable? And then I've got my two that are dedicated to working all my lumber industry. And then I might eventually have more dedicated animals over here. So I've got my storehouse, got my livestock trading post. which is currently, I'll go ahead and disable because it's not getting used. And, yeah. I think we're good to go. Plowing these fields should be nice and quick now. Let's go ahead and get some upgrades going wherever I can. Level 2, level 2, level 2. Those are all level 2. Upgrade to level 2. They won't upgrade yet. Level 2. Level 2. Alright, got a bunch of level 2 houses coming in. Alright, it's March. The thaw is happening. It's time to go turn on all of our spring infrastructure. Should take a look at what's going on over here. Plowing by hand? Okay. Do I need a guide? Like, I would have thought that the farmers would guide the oxen that are assigned to the farm, but I guess not. Alright, do I seriously need 2 families to work this? In addition to all the families working the farm? That's so obnoxious. Okay, so it looks like Hildebolt doesn't actually have any interest in fighting these brigands. So I guess I will have to mobilize my own troops to defend. Let's look for some mercenaries.
Pick up the pace! Yes, sire! Sire! Charge! Kill them!
Well, these brigands definitely picked the wrong time and place to try to go plundering and pillaging. Well, this is quite the melee going on. Unfortunately, there is not a camp to get myself some money, which is a bummer. Alright, and now I have both. Wait, so who is actually guiding the oxen? Neither of these points to... Is it the people at the stable, or is it the people on the farm?
Come on, come along.
Okay, whatever. So now, this person is going to become a brewer. And this person... Oh, I need more planks. Oh, god damn it, I forgot to disband. That was stupid. Okay, so now I can finally build a cobbler or a tailor. So I'm going to go ahead and do a cobbler. All the walking around that people need to do. I feel like they need shoes. And this guy can be a tailor. And once this one levels up, I will also make him a tailor. Huzzah! And now we have a tailor and a cobbler. So now we can make clothes and shoes. And I will also go ahead and expand the living space of both of those houses so that they can... I like to think of the expanded living space as them having an apprentice. And I think it's also time to maybe build a few more houses. So I'm going to start building over here. Small group of houses. Okay, and actually one more thing that I almost forgot that I need in order to make the tailor work is I actually need a weaver's workshop in order to convert the raw flax into usable linen. So let's plop that down, make that high priority. And now we're in business. I'm going to go ahead and assign 2 families right now because I want to make sure that this gets done quickly. Okay, I did a few things offline and played ahead a few months. One of the things is I added extra employees to the storehouse so that I could build an extra common goods stall in order to provide shoes to people because the previous common goods stalls were all full. I also had to upgrade the main storehouse into a large storehouse because it was full. I also went down here and I changed a bunch of my trade reserves so that I'm keeping more food because I was struggling a little bit with actually maintaining food variety. I also set up a small import for meat and berries in order to give myself a little bit extra buffer for food variety. I also came over here and I gave these 2 plots vegetable gardens. I know I was saving them for orchards, but I wanted to make sure that I had the extra food security. You can always delete the backyard later, and I can always build the orchard later after I unlock it. Now, I will have to pay the wealth cost again, and then the wealth cost that I spent to set up the vegetable garden will not be refunded, but basically I'm paying 30 wealth now in order to give myself a little bit more food security. And lastly, I started alternating wheat into all of my barley and flax fields in order to give myself even more food security in the future. And I realized that the farmers can actually plant and crops can actually grow in the winter. So I don't need to actually make them, I don't actually need to completely disable the farmhouse every winter and leave the fields empty. I can actually wait until they plow and sow the fields and then disable the farmhouse. I am leaving the wheat fields with a fallow in the rotation, and if I do notice that these other fields start to lose fertility, then I can always put the fallow back into rotation as well. But my understanding is that as long as you're not growing the same crop every single year, the fields will not lose fertility. So hopefully that is the case and those fields will stay fine. And now that I have all that done, I finally have enough houses to get up to having 3 level 3 Burgage plots. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade some houses. Oh, and I don't actually have enough logs to do that one. Oh, and this house apparently lost its food in the meantime. Oh well, hopefully it'll get it back soon enough. Okay, where are the oxen with my lumber? What the heck is taking the oxen so long? What the hell? Why can't I click on them? What? What the hell are they doing? And what the hell is going on over here? All my workers carrying... They're all stuck on the frozen lake? Oh my goodness. What the hell, Manor Lords? Okay, well, I reloaded and replayed, and this time all I did differently was I upgraded the houses in a different order, and this time the oxen did not wander off into the lake with all of my lumber, and are in fact building the house. So I'm going to get my level 3 Burgage plot. I already have the first 2 and I'm just waiting for the third one now. Huzzah! Oh, and I'm also going to make this house a bakery as well, which I had forgotten to... I originally had done that, but then I forgot to do it when I reloaded. So, that's not going to need more lumber, it's only going to need planks, so that should be fine. And we got another development point, and I'll be spending that in the next episode. So in the meantime, I hope that you enjoyed this experimental episode of a Manor Lords Let's Play. This was a lot more off the cuff for me, since I don't usually do unscripted content like this. One of the key benefits of recording all of the gameplay footage first and then writing and recording narration for it later was that I could do things like save scum to fix mistakes or errors, or to play ahead to get an idea of what I was going to do, and then what to show and highlight in the footage. This is, of course, a lot more stream of consciousness, which some people may like. I don't know. In any case, feel free to tell me in the comments if you prefer the freewheeling commentary in this episode, or if you preferred the slightly scripted commentary of the previous episode, and of the other Star Trek Let's Plays that I've done. If this is very well received, then I might do more Let's Plays in this particular format, and should hopefully be able to release more content with a much shorter turnaround time. And hopefully the next time I try doing a Let's Play, especially one where I'm going to be recording the narration live as I play, hopefully I don't run into as many glitches or make as many stupid mistakes that require going back and reloading, because the whole point of this was to get it done really quickly, and like I ended up spending like 3 times as long as I wanted to actually playing the darn game in order to get everything to work correctly. And that's not even counting the very first attempt that I did, where I just decided to mulligan the whole thing. So we will see if hopefully it goes better in the future. But thanks for watching, thanks for sticking with me for this past hour or two, and I hope to see you back again for the next one.